Good morning. This is Pastor Nathan coming to you from my office. I hope you're hanging in there. This has been week 2 now with no church service here at the building. And perhaps you're feeling the whole COVID-19 thing setting in a little more. I know I am. It's been an interesting week as I sort out the new ideas and new things we need to be exploring here as a church. As I mentioned in my email, we're trying to do more with video in order to still give you a face and try to stay connected a little bit since we can't do it in person. And so I would encourage you to, if you're on Facebook, to subscribe to our Facebook page, because that's one of the first places I post our videos. Also on our webpage, wetaskiwinchurchofgod.ca or .com, I put the videos up there as well and made them easy to find. And I did almost a video a day this week, and the whole goal is to try to connect with you and share some ideas, some thoughts, help you not feel so isolated. But yeah, it's been hitting me a little more this week too. We really don't know how long this is going to run or how long things are going to be different like this. I do think that we could probably all agree that regardless of how long it runs and when we get through, and the normal that we are thinking of will be different. It will be a new normal and will be changed by this whole endeavor. I'm hoping that you're able to spend the time with your family and that it's not too stressful. But I wanted to share a little bit of a word with you this morning that I come back to, and I came back to again this week in Matthew chapter 11. It's one of my favorite passages of Scripture, and it's in Matthew 11, verses 28 through 30. And it says this: "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." I was needing this week. I was feeling weary and burdened. Maybe you were too. So I hope this word is a good one for you. Within this passage, it's a short one, just 3 verses, but within it there's 3 instructions. And the first one is to come. We need to come to Jesus. It's an invitation, really, more than an instruction. "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." I find myself in that category this week. And if you do, I would encourage you to come to Jesus too. Not in the sort of come to Jesus meeting like people sometimes describe, where they're confronting somebody about something they did, but come to Jesus as your Savior, as your friend, as your loving Father, as your brother. Come to Jesus. And the way we do that is, or at least that I can think of, is in daily rhythm. We have to sort out our new normal. We have to figure out daily rhythms now, adjusting our schedules, because we're not going to school, we're not going to work perhaps, or we're working from home, or even that's adjusted. How we do shopping and where and what we do, where we can go. Everything's adjusted, everything's different. But as you figure out your new daily rhythm, let me encourage you to include worship, reading the Scriptures, and praying together. And if you are alone, live alone, then I would encourage you to pray with a friend or a family member by giving them a call. And if you are together as a family, then spend some time to pray together. Share with each other what you're feeling and what you're going through. And let the Lord draw near to you as you come to Him, as you respond to that invitation. Maybe it's been a while. Maybe you've been busy. And this week was kind of like that for me. I still come into work here at the office because I'm the only one here. Gail wasn't in, and Sarah came in one day, but, I'm isolated here at the office too. So, but I find that as soon as I get here, there's emails, there's things to be looking at. I'm trying to learn new skills and learn things so we can produce content and reach out and connect with you. Trying to strategize a little bit because everything's changed, Most of the model of the church that we run has been based about gathering on Sunday morning, and we don't do that. So I get here and I'm kind of working all day and learning and studying and contacting people. I've been able to connect with many of you. But I just come to the end of the week and I'm exhausted. And I realized, boy, I really have to get these new rhythms down because I need time with the Lord. It's so easy to let other things crowd in and take up our time. But come, respond to that invitation. Pour out your fears and your frustrations. This is a tough time for everybody. And really, we are experiencing grief. Maybe you didn't realize that. Maybe you didn't think of it like that. But what we're experiencing is grief. We have lost a lot. We have lost a sense of security. We have lost a school year. We've lost opportunities, maybe for the kids to play sports and for you to go watch them. We've lost opportunities to connect with our family or to take a vacation. We've lost opportunities maybe even to have a surgery or some procedure done. We've lost birthday parties because we couldn't gather and celebrate together, or anniversaries. We've lost date nights and lots of other things that we've lost. And that's grief. We are experiencing a lot of grief right now. And so take some time even as you come to Jesus to realize that and even confess that. Say, God, I am just grieving so much of these losses. And He'll meet you there. But come, that's the invitation. That's the first thing. Second thing, come and then take. Take my yoke upon you, He says, which is kind of like hitch your cart to me and let's pull together. It's interesting because He doesn't say, let me do everything for you. Come and bring it all to me and I'll do it all for you. He doesn't say that. Actually, the fact that He's talking about a yoke, and we used to use those for oxen or for horses or whatever, and you'd pair them together and they'd have that big wooden yoke that would go over their shoulders and they would pull together in the same direction. So there's still work to be done, but you're together. He encourages us to take His yoke upon us. As we walk in the yoke with Jesus, He sets the pace and He sets the direction. And the interesting thing is, and I'm sure some of you are realizing this, that all of our agendas and all of the things that we thought were so important have begun to take on a different level of priority because everything has changed. And so when we put our yoke with Jesus, when we hitch our cart and we join Him in pulling in His yoke, He does set the direction and the pace, and our agenda begins to fade, and His begins to clarify. And so my encouragement to you, the action on this step is to ask God to clarify your call to love your neighbor, on how He wants you to love Him and how He wants you to love your neighbor, and to be a light in this dark time. Your call as a Christian hasn't changed in light of the circumstance. It's still there. You're still called to be salt and light, to bring flavor, to bring preservation to the culture, to be a light in the darkness because of Jesus in you. It's God's light in us that shines out. And so as we join our yoke, join Him in the yoke, and we pull together and let Him set the pace and direction, my prayer is that God would clarify the call for you, what that looks like to your family and your friends, and that you would be a light shining brightly. Number 3, after come, after take, we have learn. He says, learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. That just sounds good. I want rest for my soul. Maybe you do too. Learn from him. I have a book that I just purchased, and it arrived just at the right time. I haven't started reading it yet, but it's called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. And I think it was a quote from Dallas Willard who mentioned that. But there's talk that the enemy of our spiritual life is hurry. And so in order to nurture your spiritual life, we have to be ruthless in the elimination of hurry. And I think, we need to be, specifically in this text, we want to learn how to be gentle and humble in heart. Sometimes that's tough. I've found that I've lost patience more with my kids since we've been cooped up and together. Maybe you have. Maybe that doesn't apply to you, and your patience is longer and better than mine. But I need some more gentleness and humbleness in my heart. I need to learn that from Jesus. And so it's part of my prayer that in my interactions with my kids and my family and with others, that I would have a greater gentleness and humbleness of heart. But I also think part of the things that we can learn from Jesus is that idea to unplug. We're so tied in, and this social media is good. It's so good we can connect through video and FaceTime and Skype and Zoom calls and all these things. It's amazing. But we need to unplug, We can learn from Jesus in how he practiced Sabbath. We can learn in how he would withdraw to lonely places. And while, we can't go a lot of places because of our situation with COVID-19 isolation, but, go for a drive by yourself or maybe as a family, or find that corner in your house where it's quiet. Put in those headphones. If you have noise-canceling headphones, go ahead and use those. But do something to find an isolated place, some time alone with God. And I think that's important, to unplug from the wiredness, from all the news and all of the updates and all of the people connecting, which is good, but have a Sabbath from that, have a rest from that. And then also to withdraw to a lonely place, just like Jesus used to do. And I do believe we would find some rest for our souls in the midst of this. Because ultimately, we need to take care of ourselves if we're going to help take care of others. It's like the oxygen mask speech on the airplane. If you see the mask fall, put it on yourself first before you put it on your kids. And the final passage is, "For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." If we are coming to Jesus and we are taking his yoke upon us and we are learning from him, we will find that his yoke is easy and his burden is light. It doesn't mean that life is always going to be easy, because this is tough. We're in a tough time right now. But it means that when we let him set the pace and the direction, we have a good guide and somebody who will work not just as hard as we will, but will be with us every step of the way. And that's what I want you to remember, that you're not alone. We are in this together. God bless.